Today, we're diving into the official story of a pretty high-profile crime, but we're going to look at it through the lens of one online analyst who's basically saying that the facts, the ones presented to all of us, they just don't add up. I mean, it's a really good question, right? We all kind of expect the official story to be solid, to make sense. But what happens when the pieces of that story seem to, well, contradict each other? That's exactly what our source material is all about today. Okay, so first things first, let's get the official story straight. The authorities came out and said they had their guy. They said the motive was political hatred and that they'd found all this crucial evidence. On the surface, it really did look like an open and shut case. But, and this is a big but, this is where the counter-narrative kicks in. An analyst started breaking down all the press conferences, all the official statements, and began pointing to what he calls these glaring inconsistencies that, from his point of view, basically unraveled the entire story. So, the first big red flag, according to this analyst, has everything to do with the weapon. He argues that the official sequence of events, what they say happened with that rifle, it just doesn't seem logical at all. The official timeline here presents a real puzzle. Think about it. After committing a crime like this, your number one priority is to get away, right? But in this version, the suspect supposedly takes the rifle apart, runs away, and then stops to put it back together again before hiding it. It's odd. And this really gets to the heart of the skepticism. The analysts we're looking at highlights a clip from commentator Michael Savage, who basically voices this exact disbelief. The question is pretty simple. Why would a fugitive, in the middle of escaping, waste precious time putting a weapon back together? For the analysts, this detail just completely defies common sense. But the questions don't just stop with the suspect's supposed actions. The analysis then digs into what it calls conflicting stories coming directly from the authorities themselves. And this is where the official accounts seem to drift apart. So on one hand, the governor said the suspect changed his clothes up on the roof, but then the FBI's account highlighted a screwdriver with DNA left on that same roof and a fully assembled rifle found later in the woods. The analyst argues that these details just create more confusion, not clarity. So, according to the source material, these aren't just minor mix-ups. No, he sees them as fundamental contradictions. They suggest that the officials aren't even on the same page, and that really starts to eat away at the trust in the story they're telling the public. Alright, now the analysis shifts gears a little bit. It moves into a more speculative area, looking at the victim's injury and exploring a theory that might just explain why the shot wasn't immediately fatal. So, the source material actually shows these video clips of modern, concealable body armor, and it's wild. It looks just like a regular t-shirt. So it raises the question, could the victim have been wearing something like this? Now the analyst is really clear that this is just a theory, nobody knows for sure, but he presents it as one possible explanation for how things played out. And if the body armor theory wasn't enough, the analysis introduces another idea about the bullet's path. This one actually comes from a video by a self-described sniper. This theory suggests that the wound we all saw might not be the entry wound at all. The sniper in the video suggests the bullet may have actually entered much lower on the body, and the visible injury on the neck was really the exit wound. It's a very different and much more graphic view that totally challenges the narrative of a direct shot to the chest. So, after digging into the whole rifle mystery, the conflicting official reports, and these alternative theories about the injury, where does that leave us? Well, according to the source, it leaves us with a whole lot of unanswered questions. Okay, so let's just quickly recap all the points of doubt raised in this analysis. You've got the bizarre rifle sequence, the contradictory official statements, and the what-if of the body armor. The analyst also throws in two final points. The fact that the FBI seized an SD card from a 4K camera at the scene, and the fact there's been no public autopsy report. Each one, he says, just adds another layer of uncertainty. And that really brings us to the final thought here. This analysis doesn't claim to have the real truth. What it does is shine a huge spotlight on the gaps. It kind of forces us to ask, when the official story feels incomplete or just plain illogical, what rushes in to take its place? And how are we supposed to figure out what's real in a world with so many competing stories?